Hey guys, today we're going to talk about George Floyd. Hey guys, Victoria Paston here. Thanks for stopping back by my YouTube channel. Okay, so today we're going to talk about George Floyd. George Floyd was an African American man. Sorry, he was killed. I'm not trying to joke about this. He was killed during an arrest after a store clerk alleged he had passed a counterfeit $20 bill. Derek Chauvin, one of four police officers who arrived on the scene, knelt on Floyd's neck for a period initially reported to be 8 minutes and 46 seconds. George was born October 14, 1973 in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and he died May 25th, 2020 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Okay. I decided to go ahead and do this. Happy Wednesday. Don't mind the frizzy hair, it's pouring down rain. But the trial of Derek, what's his name? Derek Chauvin, is going on right now. He was a police officer that actually knelt on George Floyd's neck when he died. Yeah. So listen, my beliefs don't matter. How I feel about this whole thing, either way, it doesn't matter. This is all about connecting with George Floyd and seeing what he has to say. Okay. So I was able to connect with him. He informed me that he just recently crossed over to where he is now. He said it took him a while. He said something that kind of threw me off. He said, I made a lot of mistakes in my life. I did a lot of bad things. Which you don't normally hear people saying that after they pass. You know what I mean? Everybody tries to bring up the positive and the good when people, pass. He felt a little differently about that. He felt like he had some issues. I told him I wanted to ask him questions concerning his death. And I said, I was aware that Derek Chauvin's trial is going on right now. So I wanted to talk to him about it. Yeah, he talked about how he wasn't a good guy throughout his life, how he had, there were periods of time he allowed drugs to control his life, is what he said. I said, this is a judgment-free zone. My son is a recovering alcoholic and addict. He's been clean and sober for almost 8 years. You don't hate the person, you hate the addiction, right? So I said, we all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes in life. I said, I'm not here to judge you. I want to get your take on everything, He talked about his daughter. He talked about his family. I asked him what he thought about the huge ceremony that they had for him for his funeral. And he said he felt like it was overwhelming. He said he understood, why his family was doing it, but he said it was a bit overwhelming. He went on to say that he sees things differently now than he did the day that happened. He said, had I not have put myself in the situation, I would still be alive. But I put myself in that situation. And I said, well, what do you mean you put yourself in that situation? He said, I broke the law. He said, I did break the law. And he said, there were many times in my life that I broke the law. Yeah. He said he knows his family misses him. He sees, their grieving process. I asked him what he felt about Derek Chauvin and the other officers that are the ones responsible for his death. Here's what he said. I don't think they woke up that morning and decided, hey, let me go kill someone while I'm working. He said that's not what it was about. He said, I don't think that Mr. Chauvin killed me intentionally. Okay. I asked him what he thought the officers deserved, whether they deserved punishment or not. And he said, he goes on to say how he had broken laws in his lifetime. He had done things wrong. And he said, you break the law, you have to be penalized for it. He said, but I don't feel like these guys should go to prison for the rest of their lives. I feel like they should have to be reprimanded, just like anyone else that breaks the law has to be reprimanded. Yeah. I was really shocked by his answer. And I told him that. I said, if I were in your shoes, I don't think I would say that. I think I would be like, they need to fry. They need to be locked underneath a prison, So that was, I was really shocked. Here's the thing. So regardless of what happened, regardless what you think, you as a person having an opinion, the bottom line is he was a really good guy. Like, when I'm talking to him, he's a good guy. He's funny. He's just like a big teddy bear. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Let me finish doing this and then I'll talk about it. I asked how he felt about the looting and the rioting that's happened. He said, man, that ain't going to get nobody nowhere. That's what he said. And then he turned the tables and he asked me what I thought of the looting and rioting, which I was kind of blown away. And here, I said, I don't feel like you get anywhere. I don't feel like anything gets accomplished when you're doing something negative. I said, Martin Luther King Jr., look how much he accomplished, by being peaceful. And I told him that. I said, and he said, okay. Yeah, so that was the overall gist of our conversation. Okay. And here's what I have to say about it all. So 8 years ago, I wouldn't have said this. Okay. 8 years ago, I would have said, well, he was on drugs. He deserves whatever he gets. You know what I mean? Like, before my son became an addict, an alcoholic, I felt differently. I now know it's a disease, and it's not the person's fault necessarily. Now, if you go out and you get high and drunk and you kill somebody, well, then you need to be reprimanded and you need to pay for that, right? I mean, but you hate the drugs and the addiction, not the addict. And George obviously went through periods of time in his life where he was addicted to drugs. He said he was addicted to drugs. He drank and he made a lot of bad decisions, is what he said. Who in this world hasn't made bad decisions? You know what I mean? And I get it. I understand. Like, I live in the DC area, and the nation's capital. And I understand that people are pissed. People are hurting. People want to make changes, right? And, hey, I'm all for that. I agree with that. I think we have a lot of changes to make. An example, in a lot of jurisdictions, if you're a police officer and your car is parked outside, you're not even in your car, and somebody backs into your car and dings it, right? Guess what? You have to go to driving school. Even though you weren't even in your car, you had no control over it. You have to go to driving school. So if you do something to harm a person while you're arresting them, shouldn't there be repercussions for that? Especially when someone dies. Shouldn't there be repercussions? And look, if I were George Floyd's family, I would be balls to the wall, throw all these a-hole police officers that did this underneath a prison somewhere and let them rot. I get it. Well, I don't get it. I thankfully have never had this happen to my family. But I feel their pain. And, I just pray. So as far as the trial, I just pray that we as a nation can come together, whatever the results are, whether he's found guilty or whether he's found innocent, we just need to come together as a nation and get through this, and There need to be peaceful protests, definitely. But the burning and rioting and looting, and unfortunately, here's my personal opinion: is the people go out there and they're doing a peaceful protest, right? And that's their right. Living in the United States, that's a right. And they're doing peaceful protests. And then I feel like these other people crawl out of the woodwork and come in, and they're the ones that start burning down cars and buildings and looting and rioting. You know what I mean? Because their only intent is to loot and riot and burn down buildings and cause destruction. They're not there to peacefully protest and to try to get some results. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel. I mean, look, I'm white, obviously. I'm not. I've never been accused of being a racist. Um, you know, yeah, let me see. You know, I mean, my heart hurts to know that people are being mistreated because of their skin color. That hurts my heart. You know what I mean? Because inside we all look exactly the same. We all bleed red, you know. Um, I was told at a job I was working at. I had two friends, two amazing women. They were African American, and we went out together every day for lunch and spent all of our time together, you know, laughing and chit chatting. And I went to go leave for lunch, and I told my supervisor that I was going to lunch with these two women. And as soon as I walked around the corner, I stopped to bend down to tie my shoe, and she called me an in-lover. And that was just so upsetting. Like, because I've never heard anybody use that word in that way, and I didn't understand, like, because no one had ever been racist towards me because I'm white, right? um, that was hard though. You know what I mean? Like, because I never looked at these two young women as a skin color. They were my friends. I didn't give a crap what color they were. You know, I say it all the time. If you're a moron, you're a moron. Doesn't matter what color you are. You know, if you're a good person, you're a good person. I don't care what color you are. But yeah, so that's what I got. I don't want to go into what I think is going to happen at the trial. There's just no point in it. Yeah. So be nice, be kind, stay safe, stay healthy, and check on your loved ones. And yeah, that about does it for me. Bye, guys.